Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I know I look like a witch, but you know what? I feel like a witch today. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite folks in this whole world, the ones that try to create an illusion of a myth that doesn't exist. And of course, we're talking about the American Trucking Associations. As you guys know, they constantly push this driver shortage myth, and right now they're relentlessly trying to push more capacity into an already oversaturated market. So today we're going to talk about what Chris Spear has said and what my thoughts on that are, as well as some facts that for some reason he refuses to look at. Ready? Let's go. So I'm going to start off with a question. Show of hands, how many of us feel like this market is experiencing a significant deficit of drivers? No? Nobody? Well, the ATA disagrees with you. Just last week, Mr. Chris Spear of the ATA testified before the Senate Commerce Committee, and what he argued was quite baffling. So what did he argue? Well, he said that the driver shortage is so bad that we must immediately lower the interstate driving age from 21 to 18 years old. Now, this is not a new argument that the ATA is presenting. It's actually quite old, but the reason I'm bringing it up now is because it was mentioned once again last week. So what did they have to say about this driver shortage? Well, I watched the video of Mr. Chris Spear talking about it, and this is what he said, and I quote, "Self-serving, baseless claims that there is no driver shortage undermine the serious work of this committee. Driver pay doesn't go up 19% during a freight recession unless there is a shortage of qualified drivers." We are going to address this in just a moment. And then he went on to talk about how ridiculous it is that 49 states in the US allow individuals to obtain a CDL before they're 21, yet federal law prohibits those same CDL holders from driving interstate, meaning crossing state lines. Now, his reason for wanting to make the legal interstate driving age 18 instead of 21 is simple, and I'm going to quote the ATA here. "Expanding career pipelines into the industry and removing barriers to entry is critical to addressing the long-term driver shortage affecting the supply chain." All right, so we're going to break this down because I think I am qualified to speak on this. I know how difficult it is to hire drivers. I have been through the ringer in that sense. So let's go ahead and pull his argument apart. First of all, there is no driver shortage, no matter what the articles or professionals or whoever tells you. There is no driver shortage. Number two, we're going to address his claim that pay for drivers doesn't just go up 19% in a recession if there is no driver shortage. Yes, it does, and there are a few reasons that happens. Number one, insurance companies got completely decimated during COVID times, right? There was such an influx of people during that market peak that insurance companies were writing a lot of new policies, and statistically speaking, it makes sense that they got burned more than usual. Now, this is not information I got from thin air, right? This is information that I got from different insurance agents saying the same thing. In 2020 and 2021, insurance saw an opportunity to make money from the influx of capacity, then got smacked in the face, and then learned their lesson. So just as the recession started hitting after the COVID boom was over, this is when insurance companies started tightening their belts and suspenders and became extremely strict about who they are going to include on their policy or who they're going to write policies for. For example, our insurance will not allow us to hire anyone with less than at least 2.5 years of experience, but usually it's 3 years. It's just a hard no from our insurance. Second, our insurance is extremely strict about what kind of violations a potential hire can have. So in our case, if we were looking for a driver, our pool just got smaller, not because there's a driver shortage, but because our insurance dictates who we can and cannot hire. And that pool is limited only to those people who have at least 2.5 years of CDL experience, continuous, plus close to zero violations. 0 if possible. Yeah, that's going to make the pool of drivers smaller. If we were able to hire new CDL holders, if insurance would allow us to do so, hiring would be a complete breeze because there are so many people in this industry. Number two, those experienced drivers that insurance wants to see, they're kind of in their element already. What I mean to say is that they already know what they like, what they want, and what they do not want. So if you're trying to poach them or get them to leave their job to come and work for you, you better be offering something really, really fantastic and out of this world. In short, people who have experience in this industry, they know their worth, and this is the way it should be. But of course, it makes hiring a lengthier process, and sometimes it makes it unsuccessful altogether because you cannot find the right person, not just for your company, but for your insurance carrier. So going back to that 19% increase in driver pay during a recession, this is not because of a driver shortage. Nay. This is because insurance became extremely strict and completely dictates who you can and cannot hire. And this happened because of the influx of new and inexperienced drivers back in COVID times who could not operate safely and scared the crap out of insurance companies. So where did that 19% higher pay come from? Well, from trying to find someone who insurance will accept, and carriers were and are willing to pay higher for people who are going to fit their insurance and will not cause them to have to change their insurance for something more expensive, considering the fact that a lot of carriers, especially during COVID times where they thought that this magical time is never going to end, they financed equipment. And now that equipment must have someone driving it, otherwise they will not be able to pay it off. So adding new CDL holders to solve this driver shortage problem that doesn't exist and adding 18-year-olds into the mix, that's just backwards, because small and medium-sized carriers will never be able to insure those drivers, especially 18-year-olds. No insurance is going to take that risk. At least not for a normal price. And if it's not an 18-year-old, it's a new CDL holder who just got into the market, yeah, it's still very difficult for small and medium-sized carriers to insure those folks because of the requirements of the insurance. But hey, mega carriers can easily hire those folks because they are self-insured, right? So the real reason for pushing the driver shortage myth is quite simple, actually. It's just to get bodies through that revolving door of mega carriers. They don't have to worry about asking insurance to approve or disapprove of a driver because they are the insurance. And it seems like they don't want to worry about finding a way to retain the drivers that they do have. You know, by treating them like human beings, having respect, transparency, and paying them well. No. Instead of mega carriers trying to figure out how to solve the problem of their turnover rate, which is over 90% in some cases, the ATA that represents them is just screaming, driver shortage. Bullshit. All right, now a little bit of a side note, something I have found that is very interesting. This is something Craig Fuller posted on X back in July. I'm posting it right here, and this is what it reads. 2 things are certain. There is no truck driver shortage, and as the industry adds truck, Chris Spear makes more money. According to AI, the correlation between Spear's salary and active truck counts is 0.834, indicating a strong positive relationship. Love it. But yeah, the driver shortage myth is just not real, and adding 18-year-olds is not going to solve the problem for small and medium-sized carriers where insurance literally dictates who you can and cannot hire. Now, the ATA I know doesn't represent small and mid-sized carriers, they represent the megas, but they always try to present solutions as if they care about the whole trucking industry, right? And that's what I have a problem with. Adding more drivers to this market, especially new and younger ones, is simply going to give mega carriers more bodies to go through. Really, this is the only way I can put it, while also skyrocketing insurance costs for those smaller carriers because insurance is scared of everything after COVID. And yeah, no thank you. That's what I think, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining and bearing with me today. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep learning. See you in the next video.